Hey, beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Patricia Shaw, your resident relationship coach, where it's all things faith, family, and fellowship with the Father. So if you're ready to stop settling and start aligning with God's best, keep watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with another sister who needs this word. And you know what I do over here. I journal. So let's get into today's video. Have you ever tried to be the one for a man who was clearly not the one for you? You prayed harder, loved deeper, and maybe even shrank yourself just to fit into his world. But no matter what you did, it still wasn't enough. Let me set you free today. You will never be the right woman for the wrong man. And that's God's protection, not his rejection. Today, I'm sharing 5 powerful tips to help you navigate the dating field with wisdom, faith, and self-worth, because settling is not your portion. Tip number 1, trust God's guidance. Let me tell you a quick story. Years ago, I met a man who on paper checked every box. He was charming, had a good job, and even went to church on occasions. But something in my spirit just felt off. I kept trying to push through, convincing myself I was being too picky. But every time I prayed or thought what I was doing was praying, God gave me a no peace kind of peace. And friend, if you have to convince yourself that it's right, then it's probably wrong. Because God doesn't send confusion. He sends clarity. If you're questioning whether he aligns with your faith, values, and purpose, take that as a sign. Don't compromise your convictions, trying to turn a maybe into a yes. Trust that God sees what you can't. Tip number 2, recognize red flags. Listen, a man who is meant for you will not require you to lower your standards just to be with him. If he constantly disrespects your boundaries, avoids accountability, or isn't spiritually aligned, then friend, that's not just how he is. That's a red flag. And ignoring red flags today will lead to regrets tomorrow. Sometimes we try to force something that doesn't fit, like squeezing into a shoe that's 2 sizes too small. At first, you tell yourself it's just a little tight, but after a while, it starts cutting off your circulation. The same thing happens when we ignore the signs and try to make a relation work that was never meant to. Pay attention to the red flags now so you don't have to heal from them later. Yes. Tip number 3, embrace self-love. Friend, let me remind you of something. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You are not too much. You are more than enough. And any man who makes you feel otherwise is not your assignment. When you truly love yourself, you won't entertain relationships that diminish your worth. You'll recognize that being chosen is not the goal. Being cherished is. And the man God has for you won't make you question whether you're good enough. He'll know it. So walk in your worth and don't let loneliness lower your standards. Tip number 4, pray for clarity. One of the best prayers I ever prayed was, Lord, remove anyone who is not from you. Woo! Now, let me warn you, when you pray that prayer, be ready for God to reveal some things. Sometimes the answer isn't that he was a bad man, but just he wasn't your man. And that's okay. Prayer is not just about asking. It's about listening. Ask God for wisdom and then be obedient when He speaks. If He's telling you to walk away, trust that He's leading you toward better. And remember, waiting on God's timing isn't punishment. It's a blessing in disguise. Tip number 5, learn from past mistakes. Hey friend, let's be real. Sometimes we see the pattern, but we keep repeating the cycle. If every relationship you've been in has left you feeling depleted, it's time to stop and reflect. What is God trying to teach you? What red flags did you ignore? God can redeem any past mistake, but we have to be willing to learn from them. Healing happens when we stop blaming them and start growing within. So instead of dwelling on what went wrong, ask yourself, what wisdom can I take from this? Because when you know better, you choose better, and ultimately you end up with the best. I am a living witness. Well, friend, let this be your confirmation. You are not hard to love, but you will always be too much for a man who isn't meant for you. And that's okay. Because when you're aligned with God's will, you won't have to force love. It will find you. Well, that's all I have for you today. If this message blessed you, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with another sister who needs this word. And do me a favor, or not, and drop a comment below. What's one lesson God has taught you about relationships? Let's encourage each other on this journey. I'm Dr. Patricia Shaw, your resident relationship coach. And until next time, always remember, you are worthy of a covenant relationship and not just a convenient one. Take care.